Hey, history fans, imagine this. What if 3 cigars left lying in a Maryland field completely changed American history? Seems crazy, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into one of the wildest accidental game changers ever. How a lost Confederate order, wrapped around some cigars, helped turn the tide of the Civil War. Let's rewind back to 1862 and see how a small blunder had giant consequences. The U.S. is tearing itself apart. Confederate General Robert E. Lee and his troops have just scored a big win, and now Lee's feeling bold. He decides, all right, let's bring the fight up north and shake things up. His army splits into different columns, hoping to throw the Union off and maybe even get France or Britain to join the Southern cause. Spoiler alert, that doesn't work out as planned. So, Lee writes out Special Order 191, his secret detailed plan for moving troops. It's like the Civil War version of texting your friend group exact directions, except you really, really don't want your rivals to find it. And then, oops, someone misplaces a copy of that top-secret order. The rumor goes an officer used it to wrap up 3 cigars, because who wants loose cigars in their pocket? No one's totally sure who was responsible, but just like that, Lee's super confidential marching orders are left in a field, waiting for some lucky person to stumble upon them. Enter Corporal Barton Mitchell and Sergeant John Bloss, just a couple of Union soldiers doing their thing, when they notice something odd in the grass. 3 cigars bundled up in paper. When they read what's inside, boom, they realize they've just hit the military intelligence jackpot. They rush to find up the chain of command all the way to General George McClellan. Now, McClellan was known for playing it safe, but when he sees this, he supposedly shouts, "Here is a paper with which, if I cannot whip Bobby Lee, I will be willing to go home." For real, he says that. Meanwhile, Lee and his commanders have no idea they've accidentally handed their battle plans to the than before enemy. While they're marching, expecting to catch the Union sleeping, McClellan and his men are suddenly on the move. Way faster, over 22,000 soldiers are killed, wounded, or missing. The 2 sides brawl at places like the Cornfield and Bloody Lane, a real mess. And even though McClellan knows where Lee is, he attacks cautiously. So the Confederates manage to hold on until nightfall before slipping away. But strategically, it's a Union win. Lee is forced to. That leads straight to September 17th, 1862, the bloodiest single day in all of American history. Retreat south. Let's talk about how huge this cigar-fueled accident turns out to be. The Confederates don't get their Northern victory. President Lincoln uses the moment to announce the Emancipation Proclamation, making the war about ending slavery and keeping Britain and France from jumping in to help the South. The whole direction of the Civil War and maybe even world history shifts because someone lost their paperwork. But what if those cigars had never been found? Some historians think Lee could have won big, maybe even forced the North to the negotiating table or brought in those European allies. Imagine a world where there's more than one country in what's now the U.S., all because a couple of cigars never left someone's pocket. So next time you lose your keys or forget an email, just remember, sometimes history turns on tiny moments, like a few cigars and a missing memo. If you love this story, hit like, subscribe, and let's get those what-if discussions going in the comments. What do you think would have changed if those cigars never got found? Thanks for watching, and see you in the next wild chapter of history's Oops Moments.